the loser in this situation was the Kansas City Chiefs. They lost in the Super Bowl 31-9. And on Twitter and social media, a lot of people are blaming Patrick Mahomes for this loss. They're saying that he choked. And the question for this segment is, does he deserve the same hate that quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, and all of these guys got? And before you go, Jack, I'll just say, no, he does not. I am a Patrick Mahomes fanatic. I love Patrick Mahomes. And people are bashing Patrick Mahomes because the media bashed their quarterback. And they want to take it out on another quarterback. And that just so happens to be Patrick Mahomes, who, let's just be honest, he wasn't amazing in the Super Bowl. I can't really say he was good. You know, I could say he was okay. He was okay, and there are a lot of reasons as to why he was just okay, right? We get all that. But in the playoffs, he's 6-0 against every team that has not been a Tom Brady-led team. He's 6-0. He literally had to run for his life on Sunday. 497 yards ran before his passes/sacks, and that's the most by any quarterback this season, according to Next Gen Stats. The most dropbacks under pressure by any quarterback in Super Bowl history. And like I said earlier, Kansas City used 5-man protection and left their tackles on island 92% of their dropbacks. So there was a lot of reason for why this didn't go Patrick Mahomes' way, and to just say he choked because you saw the stats is kind of ridiculous to me. And to answer the question, I don't think he deserves the hate that Lamar or Aaron Rodgers or whoever else got. But also, Patrick Mahomes has won already. He doesn't have anything else to prove. The only thing he has to prove is winning again. Like, he doesn't have anything to prove. Lamar Jackson has to prove something, that he can win more than one playoff game. He lost as a favorite. There are reasons why people bashed him, right? And even those guys, I don't think it's fair to bash them for their performance, like, all around. I really don't think it's fair. But that is sports culture, and since Patrick Mahomes lost, he's the one that gets the short end of the stick this time.
Yeah, exactly. And what it is on Twitter and wherever else you may hear about Patrick Mahomes being the reason the Chiefs lost, it's either casual fans or people just looking to make a hot take. Because if you watch the game, I understand his stats weren't great and he didn't play up to the level you would expect Patrick Mahomes to. But if you watch some of the things he did in that game, he showed he was the most talented quarterback in the league. I don't think there's any question about it. I don't think there maybe one or two other quarterbacks in the league that could have done half of the things he did last night. And when you put together an offensive line that's missing 3 starters, an elite Bucs defensive unit, no offensive adjustments, and a handful at least drops by your receivers and Travis Kelce, and I'm talking like impactful drops, like could have been a first down on a big third down, could have been touchdowns that were dropped. So, like, there were a couple of big-time passes that were put right on the money and dropped. He was making plays that are impossible. There was the one on the sideline where he was getting thrown down and threw a dot to the back corner of the end zone just out of the reach of his receiver. And the other one, I think it was like a play later or 2 plays later where he was rolling right, getting tackled, and threw a perfect ball to, I think it was Damian Williams, and went right through his hands, and he hit him in the face mask and he dropped it. He was doing incredible stuff, and even though the stats didn't show it and it didn't go the Chiefs' way, that loss yesterday had little to do with Patrick Mahomes. He's so low down on the list of reasons the Chiefs lost, and people won't understand that because they just equate winning and losing to a quarterback's performance, but there's so much else that goes into it, and nothing about yesterday changed my opinion that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, the most talented quarterback in the league. If there's a fantasy draft tomorrow, I'm taking him number 1 and not having any second thoughts about it. And if you don't, you're crazy.
Yeah, I agree. You talked about the 2 touchdown passes dropped. The one early in the game to Tyreek Hill.
The first drive.
Yes, could have been a momentum changer, but that was dropped. Outside of Mahomes, though, this game overall, I think the penalties called on the Chiefs while some were there, I think a lot of them were ticky-tack. You could have let them get away with it. It wasn't that serious, but they got penalized, and it was like 100 yards worth of penalties overall for the total game. No team can really overcome that. And the Chiefs have been sloppy all season long, but this time it came back to haunt them. But like you said, this is not on Patrick Mahomes, and for people trying to find a way just to bash him, I think is pretty ridiculous because he's beaten every single team basically in the league. He's beaten every team in the playoffs outside of Tom Brady-led teams. So I think it's premature to do it now. Right now, the standard of Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady level greatness. And while I do think that Mahomes can get there in terms of just on the talent level, I think he's there already, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But now people are holding him to a standard of you have to win 6 or 7 Super Bowls now. We have to be honest about the sport of football. To do what the Patriots did, because it wasn't just Tom Brady, to do what the Patriots did is damn near impossible and might not happen ever again. Tom Brady took pay cuts in New England so that team could be assembled good. And even when he took pay cuts, they were really never able to give him wide receiver talent. Gronk was there, but in terms of wide receiver talent, a lot of them were homegrown, and they just got lucky with Julian Edelman and guys like Wes Welker coming from Miami. No team has been able to do that since. And every team is trying to copy the Patriots formula. You see the Lions try to do it. The Texans try to do it. They have both failed miserably and now rebuilding now. The Chiefs just paid Patrick Mahomes $500 million. Where is the cap space going to come from to sign players? And I don't blame Pat Mahomes for not taking a pay cut. I wouldn't take a pay cut. But I'm just saying, to hold that standard over Mahomes' head that he has to win 6 Super Bowls to be in the conversation with Tom Brady is kind of ridiculous, and I'd hold back on that sentiment.
Yeah, and you were talking about the Patriots and the run they went on. You look back at even some of those teams, the year that they went undefeated in the regular season, stormed through the playoffs, they were by far the best team in football. Like, it wasn't close, and they still ran into a stone wall with the Giants in the Super Bowl. You can do everything right, and sometimes it just won't go your way. So even if the Chiefs somehow put together this perfect formula and get to a couple more Super Bowls, like, I don't think people understand how difficult it is to win a Super Bowl. So the expectation, Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowls. No franchise in football has more than 6. So it is an incredibly difficult thing to win Super Bowls, especially continuously year after year with the same team. And that was one of the things that helped Brady win his 7th. If he stays in New England, I don't think there's any way they win this past year, just because the money worked out and the crop of talent that the Bucs had. It was a perfect fit, and he slid right in, and he took a group that was really good and made them better. It was a perfect fit. But with Patrick Mahomes, like you said, making $500 million over the next 10 years, I believe, something like that.
10, I think so.
So over the next decade, he's going to be making pretty much half of the payroll, half of the salary cap. So where are they going to find places, like where are they going to find talent at other positions? I think we saw on Sunday how much every position group on the field matters. So it's going to be difficult for them when it gets to like year 5 of the contract, if not before then. Filling it, like, I
think it's difficult now. They're negative in the cap space. They're minus $19 million right now.
And they're going to have to figure out stuff on that offensive line at least this offseason. Like, if nothing else is addressed, they have to at least figure out some offensive line holes. So it's going to be difficult. If anybody in sports deserves a contract like that, it's Patrick Mahomes. But the question becomes, does anybody in sports deserve that contract?
Yeah, and we all know Patrick Mahomes is great, and he is the best quarterback in the league. He didn't have his Mahomes-like performance in the Super Bowl, but still, we know what he's capable of, and the bashing of him, we can all agree, is kind of dumb.